Good morning, Ken Hovind here, up and at 'em after a little bit of sleep, not much. So welcome, thanks for joining us, and you're welcome to send in your questions. Sorry I'm so far behind. We'll try to get caught up here as soon as we can. Got my Bible, got a box of property from the prison. Finally, my Bible I wore out in prison. I know where everything is on the, well, not everything, but on the right. It only took them 6 weeks, pretty fast for the BOP. My prison took them 20 months one time to send my stuff. Anyway, praise God for that. Questions and answers are piling up. Our questions are piling up. We'll try to give at least a Hovind to answer, and if you don't like it, ask it again or try it again. We'll see what happens. A couple of little housekeeping things. July 30th, the drunken atheists peasants accepted, or I accepted their challenge to a debate. And I haven't heard from them now. Come on, guys, it's been 23 weeks. I mean, I'm ready. Let's go. I'll take on everybody you can find, 100 atheists at a time, on the condition, simple, I get half the time, and we talk about one topic at a time. And in your guys' particular case, no profanity. It seems like you need to get a dictionary from what little bit I read on your website. By the way, I noticed you had 8 views on one of your posts. Congratulations. Keep up the effort. Keep you out of trouble is what it'll do. Hopefully. Anyway, so yes, challenge is still open, guys. Anytime you work up the nerve, you got it. Get your atheist group together, and I'll take on all of them you can find. And I've done 105 debates now, I think, against atheists, and oftentimes the guys are a lot smarter than I am, but I'm right and they're wrong. So it's pretty simple to win a debate like that. Anyway, so drunken atheists or drunken something. Anyway, I'm still waiting. Please send your champion Goliath out here. We'll see if we can put something new into his brain like David did to Goliath. Okay, anyways, this Friday is the sentencing for Paul Hansen. Be praying about that. 2 o'clock this Friday at the federal courthouse. Paul Hansen, for those that haven't followed this case, is the trustee of Creation Science Evangelism Ministry, CSE. And he and I were cellmates together for 3 months, and he loves the Lord, great guy, and really knowledgeable of the law and of our founding fathers' intent, and understanding the big picture of what's really happening. You know, like yesterday somebody called me and talked about, Obama being president. I said, well, president of what? Well, president of the United States. That's correct. There are, I think, 5 or maybe even 7 different corporations named United States, and he's president of one of those. Is that the real original 1789 United States? I don't think so. I don't know, but that's a battle for somebody else to fight. But point would be, Paul gets sentenced this Friday, and I want you to pray that he gets time served, and then pray that he can get this crazy case overturned. It's insane, and it's evil at multiple levels, and that it has to be exposed, if nothing else. All Gideon had in the book of Judges for weapons was light and noise. He couldn't have beat the Midianite army, and we can't beat these people that are coming after me. But so you shine the light, and make a lot of noise, let everybody know, here's what happened. I have nothing to hide. I would like a congressional investigation. Contact your congressman, contact these guys running for president, and say, have Kent Hovind come testify. Bring in all those that came against him, the IRS agents, the U.S. attorneys, the judges, bring them all in. And let everybody tell the truth in front of everybody and say, okay, here's what happened. Here's why I did what I did. That's all. I think the whole truth ought to be known, and it will be one day at the judgment day God's got coming. We're all going to have every word, every thought exposed. And I don't think I have anything to hide in this matter on that day. Okay, let's see. Anyway, back to your questions. So Paul's sentencing is this Friday. Pray that he's turned in a lot of simple common sense motions that just simply get one word response: denied, no answer. So I pray that you'll just ask you to pray that God will step in and fix this. Okay, just do something. This is wrong at multiple levels. Okay, let's see. Patrick writes in August 2nd. Whoa, I'm getting caught up. I'm not getting caught up. Never mind. Dr. Hovind. Thank you so much for your ministry and all you've done. Since you have lots of questions to answer, I'll get straight to mine. Number 1, what is and how would someone receive the mark of the beast? Patrick, don't know for sure. I'm sure in every age they've thought it was something, something different. It looks to me like today it's probably going to be a little microchip that will be put under the skin of the forehead or in the right hand, and this is very specific. It's in. Now, in the Bible, the word hand is used anything up, all the way up to the elbow. Jacob, the servant for Abraham in Genesis chapter 24, says he put bracelets on Rebekah's hands. So I think the word hands means more than what we in our culture consider the hand. It might include the wrist or something, but regardless. The microchip, if it's a microchip, is going to go in the the hand, or in the forehead. New King James and all other versions have changed it to say on, which I think is a tragic mistake. So get a real Bible if you're going to study anything, but especially prophecy. And I would say that other ones have serious drawbacks. I am very concerned about folks that trust in that when they go into battle. That's up to you, though. Anyway, so I don't know what it is. I don't know how someone would receive it. It's probably going to be some type of electronic surveillance like that will be required in order to buy or sell. Just like now, if you don't have a Social Security number, there's a lot of things they won't let you do. You can't open a bank account, etc. You're excluded from the field of commerce, which is what they want. It's what it always goes back to. Money always goes to money. 1 Timothy 6:10. Okay. Number 2. Can someone still be saved if they receive it? Excellent question. Revelation 13 and 14 talk about that topic. What if a baby gets it when they're born? I don't know. I don't understand all that. It looks to me like it says you have to receive the mark and worship the beast. So maybe there comes a time when you can get of age and say, whoa, 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 well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to worship the beast. We'll have to wait and see. Do not have and I'll get 400 letters now saying, well, I got the answer. And I know everybody will write me and email me and saying they've got it, and it'll all be different. So there is still, in my mind at least, a controversy over what exactly this means and how exactly you receive it and what happens if you receive it. So I won't give a dogmatic answer because I don't have one. Okay. Number 3. If it is the microchip, what about young children, newborn babies who take the chip? It should not. If it's not, should Christians take it to the government or police? Should Christians take it if the government or police enforce the chip? This is a very difficult answer, very difficult question. I don't know. It's going to slowly come in to pressurize everybody to say, look, you either take it or you don't buy or sell. What if they stopped taking credit cards, cash, debit cards, checks at all stores? What if every store simply said you have to have a microchip, you have to have a mark in your hand for security reasons, not a card that you can steal, in your hand, or you won't buy or sell? They don't have to pass a law. Congress. This would not even go through Congress. This is simply all the grocers, all the retailers saying, look, we're not going to buy or sell. What if the banks require the people who deposit money in banks to do it all electronically, and the banks stop taking cash credit cards and stop issuing checks? I suspect this mark of the beast enforcement policy will come through the banking industry. We shall see. Number 4. How did we get different skin colors, races, from Adam and Eve? A good question. There are 2 theories about that I'm aware of. One is that Adam and Eve back here, 4000 BC, were medium brown, and from there everything has diversified into the light and the dark. We're all really various shades of brown. I am not white. There's white. This is not white. So we're all different shades of brown, and I'm probably real light-skinned compared to many people being from Norway. But and there are some really dark-skinned people, but they're really no black or white. It's all different shades of brown. And if you lined everybody up in all the different shades, from light brown to really dark brown, where exactly would you draw the line between, what they call black and white? There isn't a line. It's real blurry in there. So where did the skin colors come from? One theory is Adam and Eve were medium brown, and they were able to produce the darker and lighter just as a kind of natural or artificial selection in their children and grandchildren. some people going around saying, well, God put a mark on Cain, and Cain became black. I think that's silly, ridiculous, dumb theory, but there are people who teach that. That was the official Mormon, I think still is, the official Mormon teaching. That Adam and Eve had Cain and Abel. Of course, they probably had 500 kids, living to be 900 years old. But the one theory is that Cain became black when he got cursed by God. I think that theory is dumb. I think it's wrong. I don't believe it's true. I'm just pointing out that there's a lot of folks who teach that. The problem is the line of Abel is killed, and then Seth comes along, and Seth's descendant Noah is the one who goes through the flood and builds the boat. So that would wipe out the line of Cain. So if the races started back here, or the skin colors, you have a problem. When you get to the flood, you have a genetic bottleneck back down to one family, unless Noah's wife or Noah's sons' wives were one of these other skin colors from before the flood. So I think one legitimate theory is that the skin colors originated at the original creation. God likes variety, and so that's part of the normal creation, all the varieties of skin colors. Then the bottleneck of the flood happened to preserve the same genes through the flood with Noah's sons or their wives. Okay. The next theory is after the flood, the Bible says God put a mark or did something to Ham. He said, "Cursed be Ham. A servant of servants shall he be." That's in Genesis chapter 10. So after the flood, end of chapter 9, Noah's son Ham sinned, and you can read the whole story in Genesis 9 and 10. And God said, "Cursed be Canaan, who was the son of Ham." So there are those who teach that Canaan became black because of this. Now, I don't believe that, but there are those who teach that. The only indications of this from the Bible that I can see, it does appear that the descendants of Ham, Noah had Shem, Ham, Japheth, 3 sons. It does appear that the descendants of Ham are the black African Americans. If you go to Psalms chapter 104 or 105, I got them marked in here. Here we go. Well, I found the one in 105. My Bible's a little marked up. Psalm 105, verse 23. Israel came also into Egypt, and Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham. Verse 27. They showed him signs among them and wonders in the land of Ham. Chapter 106, verse number 22. Wondrous works in the land of Ham and terrible things by the Red Sea. The Bible seems to indicate that Africa, or at least Egypt, is the land of Ham, which I think leads to the evidence for the theory that when Noah's sons spread out from Ararat, where it landed, which is in Turkey, far eastern Turkey, their sons spread out in Ham, and his descendants went south and ended up over in south and west, and ended up over in Africa. And so the Africans would be descended from Ham. Japheth apparently went north and mostly west, and his descendants became the Europeans. And then Shem stayed there and traveled east from there, and his descendants became the Jews, and then ultimately the Indians, including India, and traveled over the Bering Strait and became the American Indians. So that's kind of a very commonly accepted theory, and I see no reason to doubt it, but I can't offer any proof for it. But the 3 basic skin colors would come from the 3 sons of Noah after the flood. Now, at the Tower of Babel, God confused the languages, Genesis 10 and 11. So could it be that the smaller inbreeding groups, now they're all speaking French or all speaking, Swahili or whatever language they ended up with, that because they're a smaller inbreeding group now, unusual traits, darker skin, lighter skin, straight hair, curly hair, etc., would become pronounced in that group and become embedded in that group just by virtue of the small breeding pool. That, to me, seems logical. I do know this. The Bible doesn't say for sure, so that's just a theory. Okay, thank you for the question, Patrick. Next one from Juan, who writes in, Dr. Hovind, I hope you're doing great. My name is Fernando. I have a few questions. If the microchip happens to be the mark of the beast, then how is having a chip an evil mark? How does it relate to the number 666? Well, I don't know, Fernando. It could be that years ago in 1973, I think, they developed the barcode, the little lines on the product. You got them on everything now. And it's very interesting. The first number of any barcode, let me find something with a barcode on it. There we go. The first two lines are skinny lines with no number underneath them. In the middle there are two skinny lines that extend further, again with no number. And at the end there are two skinny lines, again with no number at the bottom. Two skinny lines separated by a white space. If you look at the barcode, there are two different ways barcode is read, but it is the number 6. I mean, all of these barcodes start with 6, 6 in the middle, 6 at the end. And they'll say, oh, it's just guide bars to tell the computer which one you're reading, and is it the product code for in-house or the product code for manufacturing? And I read about all that. The point is, why would they use the 6, this identical symbol 6? Maybe it's got nothing to do with it, but it sure looks to me and to many others like the mark of the beast is going to be something electronic, a code that would, like in the case of a barcode, contains 666. We'll have to wait and see what that means. There's nothing evil about the word 6 or the number 6, either one. It's just part of the numerical system. But Satan's going to use that. Okay. So the best answer to that is I don't know for sure, but I think it's going to be a participation in the evil system of Satan and cooperation and going along with his system. And it's going to slowly squeeze everybody into where they have to go that way, or simply you can't buy or sell. Looks like it's all through Christian history, even before pre-Christian, they've taught that Satan wants a one-world government, Nimrod type thinking. And then after Christ, it became obvious that there's going to be an antichrist at the end of time. And the New Testament certainly teaches there's going to be some kind of system where you can't buy or sell without a mark in the right hand. Okay, let's see. Question number 2 from Fernando. In 1 Corinthians 3:17, it says, if a man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy. The temple of God is holy, which temple ye are. Does that passage apply to wrestling, boxing, UFC, or similar sports in which they have to destroy their opponent for money and the pleasure of spectators? Some of them end up with serious injuries or even death. I don't know if that verse applies or not. I think certainly some sports are just really dumb when you stop and think about it. But I don't know, Fernando. If God convicts you about it, I wouldn't do it. Is it a sin? I don't think so. Is it kind of dumb? Yeah, but it's up to you. Okay. No, I can't answer that. Sorry. I'm not doing too well this morning. I got a lot of them. I don't know. Number 3. I've seen a good answer to understand the Trinity, and I want to know your thoughts about it. God is not a name. God is an essence, a kind. Same as human is not a name. It is an essence, a kind. There are 7 billion people in the human kind, and there are 3 persons in the God kind. Therefore, God is one in kind, not in persons. Fernando, I disagree. God is one in person also, or 3 persons in one Godhead. This is a long theological discussion people have had for millennia. Exactly what is God? But to say God is 3 just like humans are 7 billion would be seriously wrong, I think. Okay, I do not believe that. Okay, this one from Mr. Mojo. Greetings, Kent from Mississippi. Did I say it right? Mississippi. Glad to see you're out of prison. I used to believe in evolution and God, but you convinced me. When I was young, I was 15. I'm now 16. I want to talk to you about the Nephilim. A man named Rob Skiba, S-K-I-B-A, has a great doctrine about them. He shows us how the book of Enoch tells us what really happened to the pre-flood world. I think I might have met Rob. I don't know, and I don't know what he believes, so I can't give an endorsement or a condemnation, either one. Not that anybody would care about either. But so I don't know. I would be cautious about the book of Enoch. There are actually 3 books of Enoch, and it appears to me, anyway, that it's what's called a spurious book, a book written to include some crazy doctrine at a much later time than it claims to be from. Of course, people have always written books. I don't know if Adam wrote any books or not, but people have always written books, and who knows how many have survived. And so I'm cautious of the book of Enoch. Okay, let me finish your question here. How fallen angels and demons are not the same. That may be correct. Fallen angels and demons may or may not be the same. There are quite a few heavenly characters mentioned: the cherub, the cherubim, the seraphim, the angels, the archangels, the beast, the 4 and 20 elders. I don't understand it all. I don't know anybody who does, but are they, some of them, the same people, different name for them? Are there different levels in heaven of strength or power or ability? I don't know. The Bible seems to not have quite enough information so we can get a really hard grasp on it. So either God doesn't want us to know, or I haven't figured it out yet, or it's our brain couldn't handle it, so forget it. Or maybe there's some other options there. Anyway, so the fallen angels and demons may not be the same. I kind of think they are, but I couldn't prove that to anybody. Okay, next part. How tall the pre-flood giants got to. It says, apparently the book of Enoch says, they got as tall as 450 feet. The giants called them titans. Okay, Mojo Man, Mr. Mojo, I'm going to really disagree with that one. Okay, I think maybe 12, 14, 15 feet is possible and maybe happened. I don't know. Joe Taylor at mountblanco.com in Texas would have more information on that, some of the giant human bones that have been found. Of course, these days with Photoshop, you can make any evidence you would like and become pretty convincing. They were doing that back in Darwin's day, though, making up fake evidence for their stupid theory of evolution. So I'm gonna say I don't believe that 450 at all. You tell me you found a 15-footer, I'd be willing to be convinced. You tell me you got a 25-footer, no, I'd have to really be convinced of that one. Okay, the Greeks called them the Titans. He explains how all the knowledge of the Nephilim from somewhere. No, these lines are too long. He explains how all of the mythology, there we go, supports the Bible. He explains how the book of Enoch is a reliable book because Moses and his audience had to get the knowledge of the Nephilim from somewhere. Again, I don't know Robert what he believes, but if you're correct in summarizing what he believes, then I'm not on that page at all. I don't believe that. Okay, I don't think they were 450 feet tall, and I don't think the Enoch is a reliable book. Okay, watch his videos with an open mind when you get a chance. Okay, type in YouTube and Rob Skiba, the origin of the Nephilim, and Rob Skiba and the return of the Nephilim. If I get time, I'll do that. Good to know we're saved by faith through grace. That's what Jesus did for us, not of works. They only get us rewards. Have a blessed day. Thank you. And it's right to. Okay, James writes, is it out of time? Okay. James writes, Dr. Oven, I've been an admirer of your work on anti-evolution for some time. While this is true, since you have been out of prison, you've been focused on the end times. I'm here to tell you the 7 years were fulfilled at the time of Jesus. The 70 weeks of Daniel were fulfilled at that time. And here's a chart, okay, showing the 70 weeks being fulfilled, here we go, at 34 AD, etc., to 1844, the start of the judgment. James, what you're sharing here is Ellen G. White's The Great Controversy Theory, which became the Seventh-day Adventist from the Millerites. Miller predicted the coming of the Lord in 1841 and then 1842 and 3 and 4, I think, and they finally quit listening to the guy. But they would go out and sell their stuff and go stand on a hill. Oh, the Lord's coming back at 2 o'clock today, and he didn't come back in 1840. That group, the Millerites, they were called, morphed into what are today the Seventh-day Adventists in large part. And I don't fight them, but they are seriously wrong in my humble, totally unbiased opinion, and I just don't buy it. So no, the 70th week of Daniel, that 7 years, was not fulfilled at the time of Jesus Christ at all. It's still future, still coming. What you're sharing there is sometimes what's called the preterist view. It already happened. It's all over. It's done. So now we are going to slowly bring in the kingdom. Let's see. Christians and Jews have always known this until recently when the Schofield Bible was printed around 1909. There is no 2,000-year gap between the 69th and 70th week. I understand this is the teaching of the Millerites or the Seventh-day Adventists, which you may apparently are in. Let's see. Yeah, you are. Okay. James, you said here you're Seventh-day Adventist. I just disagree real strongly. There's a book by Peter Ruckman, who's rude, crude, crass, and mean, and really smart, who wrote a book called Why I'm Not a Seventh-day Adventist. It's a little booklet, 50 pages, and it's available from Bible Baptist Bookstore here in Pensacola. I would suggest you read that. There's been a lot of books written on this topic. Let's see. There's no 2,000-year gap. I disagree. I think there is. It's called the church age. We today call it the church age. The Bible doesn't talk about that. But for as you know, we are almost 2,000 years from the cross. 2031, we're almost there. If the Seventh-day Adventists now, James, are setting a new date of 2031, they're wrong. In short, futurism was invented by the Jesuits. We have their books, who then caused the world wars to herd Jews to Israel to fulfill the thing and begin the mess we see today. James, this gets really complicated to study, and I don't want to take broadcast time for all of that, but I understand that theory that the Jesuits have done all this stuff, and I think certainly there's some evil stuff going on behind the scenes with the Jesuits. You might want to, there's a lot of good books at chick.com, C-H-I-C-K. You might want to talk to David Daniels, a good friend of mine there. Tell him I said hi, and he should come visit Pensacola. I've been to their place. Now he should come here. But you want to get the lowdown on the Jesuits and all the different Dominicans and the different orders in the Catholic Church, you might want to get a hold of David Daniels. He's up on that topic. I don't think the average Catholic knows what their leadership does. I think most of them are just clueless about what really goes on and the history behind all that. So that's a battle for somebody else to fight. Okay, let's see. I did not invent all this, James says, but I have written a book, and you may do further research on your own. If you cannot see the 10 Commandments, if you cannot see the 10 Commandments remain, including the Sabbath day, you probably will not read this much. James, I think I've been pretty clear. The 10 Commandments were given to the Jews. They are excellent for everybody to follow, but they're given to the Jews to Moses, and the Sabbath especially was given. It says so in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 9, I believe. The Sabbath was revealed to Moses. Well, Moses lived here 1400 BC. God created the earth in 6 days, rested on one day. Nobody that we know of kept the Sabbath, the Saturday, as a day of rest. God commanded Moses, okay, guys, this is your rule. Start keeping this commandment, the Sabbath commandment. And it was for the Jews. I show in my seminar part 7, Q&A, which is on one of these YouTube things someplace, that all the verses about the Sabbath are for the Jews. And I've never met anybody who keeps the Sabbath commandments. I mean, read them. Exodus 12, the commandments about the Sabbath. Don't go out of your house. Don't kindle a fire. Don't work. Don't make anybody else work. Well, there's all kinds of hypocrites claiming they keep the Sabbath when yet they flip on their lights on Saturday, making somebody work downtown at the powerhouse. They start their car and drive to their Seventh-day church. Well, they got fire going on every cylinder. No, I've never met anybody who keeps the Sabbath. None. Now, some of them keep part of the Sabbath commandments, and they feel superior to everybody who doesn't, and it's always the holier-than-thou attitude comes out. And I think a lot of them love the Lord as much as I do and are just as saved as I am, going to heaven. And I've spoken at their churches, and I will probably continue. But I disagree. It's wrong. So you can write all the books you'd like, James. And you're probably right. I'm not going to take time to read it. I've studied this for years, and it's the same thing every time. Let's see. All God's people have kept it before there were a Jewish people. I'd like to see where you got that. Okay. I did see your take on clean meats, and I do not read it that way. God made all creatures, and he said we are to eat clean meats. He created them, some of them, to be scavengers. I agree. Now, if a scavenger-type animal eats a plant, and I would be willing to bet if we followed the food cycle, even the clean animals are ingesting some things that are unclean. For instance, there are probably some cows eating grass that contains some unclean insects. Accidentally, of course. So now what? Do you not eat the cow? The commandments for the clean and unclean meat, as far as what to eat, was given, as I said several times in my broadcast, to Moses in 1440 BC. Later, and none of the Jews ever kept the commandments either. They were given to show, hey guys, you can't do this. You really want to be perfect to come to heaven? Okay, do all this. None of them could. When God gave them the 10 Commandments, he was hoping they would say, wow, God, give us mercy. We can't do this. And he would have said, okay. But when Moses came down and showed them the 10 Commandments, the morons said, oh, yeah, we can do all that. No problem. Ego, pride written all over them. And God said, oh, okay, well, let's just see how you do. And for 1,400 years, they struggled and struggled trying to keep the commandments, and nobody ever has, none, except Jesus Christ. Fulfilled the law, did everything right. Then they killed him, and he is now my substitute, my sacrifice. I'm going to heaven because of what Jesus did, not because I keep a bunch of commandments. Now, I think the 10 Commandments, like thou shalt not do no murder, don't kill, every nation ought to have laws like that, and most nations do. And certainly that's the model law. But as far as keeping the Sabbath, my position is and always and has been for many years and probably will remain till I die, that is a commandment for the Jews, and I'm Norwegian. Keep it if you'd like. And you can even feel superior to me if you keep it. I'm sure you already do. Okay, sorry about that. So let's see. I don't want to leave off. Let's see. All God's people would follow God's instruction on clean meats, for the unclean pollutes the mind, including bacon. Bacon is swine. Now you're right. You are dead right. Bacon comes from swine, and I love it. Had some yesterday. Man, swine does not sweat, making it unclean. Pine trees don't sweat either, and neither do pecan trees, I don't believe. Okay. I was converted to the truth as a normal Baptist, then became Seventh-day Adventist, although I never did get into Ellen White's books much. There's a chapter on that in my book. Thank you for all you do, and continue. James, people disagree on all kinds of things, and we're going to disagree on this until we get to heaven and God shows you you're wrong. But you can still love the Lord and serve the Lord, and I'm glad to have you. I believe you're probably a brother. And so thank you for the letter. I appreciate it. I disagree with your chart. Okay, I think you got it wrong. I think I got it right there. Okay, next question, and I have to hurry. No, better yet, we got to quit. I'll try to get some more in today. I'm going to try to get caught up, actually, if I can. Thank you so much. We try to keep these broadcasts 30 minutes if possible. But please tell your friends about it, and please pray for Paul Hansen and the sentencing this Friday, and pray that Congress will get involved and expose this entire thing start to finish. The stupid structuring law needs to be repealed, needs to be retroactive, and needs to pay the damages to those they've hurt. Get on the board. Get all these presidential candidates to have about 10,000 phone calls to their campaign quarters and say, yeah, what's your opinion on this? And ask them about the Kent's law. That dumb structuring law. Not only, go to Lone Star 1776 and watch some of the broadcasts we did over the last year explaining all this crazy case that put me in prison for almost 9 years. Anyway, thank you for joining us. We'll do another one a little later on after second cup of coffee. Thank you.